I was doing a date in New York, my first record date, as a matter of fact, at A&R Recording Studios on 48th Street. And Phil Ramone and David Green. David Green was the engineer, and Phil Ramone had done a lot of work with me prior to that, both from a record standpoint and also in the jingle area. I did a lot of, that was the business I was in at that time. And I joined in New York at Phil's and Dave's request, I guess you might say. And Dave and I have been involved in various projects for a number of years, and I bump into Phil now and again. Actually, we established Nimbus 9 in '68, but we actually built the studio and soundstage. We built that. It opened in '72. So it was a period of 4 years where we didn't have any facilities, and we decided that we needed and the country needed a state-of-the-art facility, and that's when we made the decision to go with the construction of the soundstage. It's an interesting thing on that situation with the soundstage. We picked the name. We actually bought a film post-production company called Telecraft, and along with that purchase came a film producer's license, which at that time enabled you to bring in any equipment duty-free. And so we brought in a great deal of our equipment, pretty well all of it, and we got it all in the studio and everything operating. We got a call from Excise and et cetera saying that they wanted to come down and see the facility. And we were sort of pretty concerned. And I went out and got a 16mm Mitchell camera and brought it in and set it up in the corner of the studio. And in waltzed this guy, and we're all set, everybody's all tensed up. And he said, I want to see the Eventide Clockworks. And I'm figuring, what does he want to see the Eventide Clockworks for? I took him over and showed him, told him what it does. The word Clockworks in there put it outside of what they felt was in the film producer's license on that basis. That's all he wanted to see, and I'll tell you, when he left, there was a big sigh of relief from everyone. These eyes started, well, we did one session here in Toronto initially. The first session after I decided I would leave McCann Erickson. I was radio TV director and account executive on the Coca-Cola account there for about 8 years. And I decided to leave because I had been doing work with a lot of Canadian artists, Jack London, David Clayton Thomas and the Shays, and just a bunch of them. And there was such a tremendous pool of talent, no one knew who they were. And we decided that we would take a flyer and see if we couldn't do something about that. So I left McCann and talked to the Guess Who said that decided they would come with us. And I also talked to the Staccatos, and they stayed with Capitol. And we bought the Guess Who's contract out from Quality Records for $1,000. And they said they got to keep the old masters. I said, I don't want the old masters. So we did the first session, which we did at Hallmark. And when I brought it back to the office and listened to it, I was not happy with it at all. And I told my partners, I said, I really want to redo this stuff. And of course, they were looking, saying, gee, but we paid this much money for it, And in the meantime, the group had decided pretty much the same thing. They were unhappy. And they flew into Toronto. We got together, and the first thing I said was, guys, I want to scrap the session. I want to redo it again. And they said, oh, that's why we came down. Oh, wonderful. So it actually started the relationship up. We redid those 3 recordings of A Dropping Pin, Guess Who Blues. I can't remember what the other one was. And we went through a independent distributor, which was a disaster. And we finally decided that we would sort of go for broke. And I called Phil, and Phil said, sure, come on down. And we decided we would take them to New York and do an album. And when we got to New York, I'd hoped to be doing it in A1, which was their big studio at A&R. And he said, we can't do it there. There's someone in there, but we've got a brand new studio. No one's been in it. And I found out, well, the only thing that had been done in there was a demo by Ravi Shankar. But Phil said, look, use it. If it works, pay for it. If it doesn't work, don't pay for it. I figured, well, you couldn't lose too much on that. But he couldn't do the session, so he recommended Dave Green to me. And we started the session on a Monday morning, and we were actually cutting lacquers on Saturday afternoon. We had a sweetening session on Saturday morning with the strings and the horns. And funny thing there, when the original arrangement put together, the Ben McPeak, who did the charts, had timpanis in there. Was it these eyes, bong bong? And I listened to it, I said, Ben, that just does not work at all. And they had a vibraphone in the studio, and I asked the percussionist, I said, you don't happen to play vibes, do you? He said, yeah. I said, do the part on vibes, so it's dong-dong, ding-ding, you just hear it very softly in the background. But anyway, it went on to be a massive record, and it was the start of their career, and of course, also the start of ours. One of our other producers, Bob Ezrin, did Pink Floyd, and he also did the Peter Gabriel album. I didn't do that as well. Part of The Wall was recorded there. A lot of the guitar overdubs were recorded there. The Salisbury Hill album was recorded there entirely. It was Peter's first album as a solo artist. And we had Dr. John in there. He did his album there as well. I had Neil Young did some stuff there. Ringo Starr did some stuff there. We had a pretty impressive parade of major artists go through the studio. Primarily, I like to think anyway, because we turned out very good product. And it was fairly isolated. There were certain tax benefits to some of the international artists because of the recording being done in Canada. Well, I guess the highlight probably is when American Woman went #1. I know they had to sort of pour me out from under the console that night. We were doing it in the middle of a session when we found that one out. But there are other things that are equally as memorable, not necessarily as fluid as that one was. But I had some sessions with Poco that are very memorable, and some material that I did with them that I'm really quite proud of. Crazy Eyes and Magnolia. The Seeger situation was a little bit different. When we did the Seeger situation, Bob had sort of been trying to get in touch with me to do something. We never clicked. I had one occasion I almost, and we didn't click, and I got this call. Well, I got home from a date, and my wife said, you're supposed to be in Memphis. I said, no, I'm not. And he said, he wants you there. I said, I don't care. I'm not. I just got off sessions for, I guess it was about almost 3 months. And then eventually Punch Andrews called again, and we were going to do 4 sides. And I was going to fly to Detroit and do pre-production, and every time I got to fly to Detroit to do pre-production, they called and canceled it. Then we get a call that he's coming in. And I got to get my engineer, Brian Christian. I flew him up from LA. And we get in, and he comes in with 2 songs. I still have them. They were never released. And we did the 2 songs. And I said, well, do we need a couple more songs, Bob? So we looked at, and we decided we'd do My World Is Empty Without You, Babe, and the Supremes, which we put together. And I said, we still need another song. And Bob was in my office noodling on the piano, and he was playing something. I said, that sounds really interesting. He said, oh, he says, it's not ready, it's not done. I said, well, just play it again, will you? And I said, look, I said, I think it's got the potential to be a great track. Let's do it. So in the meantime, I'd sent his keyboard player back to Detroit, his guitar player back to Detroit. So I actually got back in and we set it up, and I got Doug Riley to come in and Joey Michelon on guitar. And we actually put Night Moves together in the studio from his very, very rough version of it on my piano in my office. And the irony of it there is that when we finished it, and I gave it back to Punch Andrews. I guess they sent one to Capitol, and we didn't hear anything. They didn't like it apparently. So I said, "Oh well, you win some, you lose some." And they had John Carter was the A&R at Capitol in L.A. at that time, and he came up to Toronto to see Capitol up here, and we were pretty tight with Capitol. Arnold Gosowich is a good friend of mine, and they used to bring them down to the studio when they brought VPs in. And of course, John comes in, and I cornered him, and I said, "I gather you didn't like the Seeger stuff." And when you hit an A&R guy like that, it's sort of hum, ha, etc. They try to avoid everything they possibly can. And I said, no, I said, I'm just interested. He says, well, both tracks were okay. I said, what do you mean both tracks? He said, well, we got the 2 tracks. I said, well, I did 4. What did you hear? And he gave me the 2 songs that Bob had brought in, which they were wrong key, and he wouldn't change the key. And so I said, well, do you want to hear the other 2? And he said, yeah. And I played him Night Moves, and then he says, Night Moves is just great. I said, yeah. And he said, you cut here, and you cut here, and you got 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And that was the last I heard of it. And I was in New York doing the Brecker Brothers over the holiday, and I opened Billboard, and there's Night Moves. I think it was 9 or 10, no, at least 90 or 91, produced by Punch Andrews. So I got on the phone to Capitol and got hold of John Carter, and we did the usual, we get together here, get to My Girl, Call Your Girl, etc. And I said, John, you got 24 hours to get those credits changed on that record, which he did, and needless to say, it became a monster.